welcome back to the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I am your host, Kojo Sofro, checking in from what was a pretty sunny day here in Los Angeles, California. I cannot complain. I've been on the road and I'm back in the city, and I'm happy to be here. Today, we're going to be talking about 3 signs that you might be neurodivergent. I think we've done this before, but somebody requested this. And I'm like, okay, I don't mind going over the basics. Let me give you all a couple of more signs, and I can also turn this into a TikTok video as well. So that way we can hit everybody. You know, the reels and the TikToks and the YouTube shorts are how we communicate nowadays. That's how we really get the word out. But there's a lot of y'all who do tune into the show every Monday at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock on the East Coast, 8 o'clock in Tennessee, 7 o'clock in Boise, Idaho, / Arizona. So we're going to talk about 3 signs that you might be neurodivergent. And before we start, we have to start off the way that we always start off. We use a comment section to let the chat know where we're checking in from and maybe a little bit about yourself if you're new to the live stream. So we have Tia checking in from TikTok. Tia, how are you doing? How are you doing? And then, of course, we have our main folks checking in. Not main as if the TikTok folks aren't main, but you know, TikTok, only TikTokers can see their screen, and Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and X as in Twitter, they have their own screen here. And I can put the comments up on StreamYard. So I'm excited that I get to do that. Jen C. Kyle from Augusta, Georgia. Okay. Jen C., how are you doing? I'm happy that you are here tonight. Thank you for coming through. I don't think I've seen you before, so if you're new, welcome to the live stream. Candace, I think Candace is checking in from Hawaii. I think Hawaii. How are you doing? Leilani checking in from Tennessee. How are you doing tonight? We started kind of on time. Yeah, like maybe 18, 20 minutes late. Not too bad. We can live with that. Checking in from Tennessee. Megan checking in from Orlando, Florida. Megan is the OG on here. Megan, what's up? We have Ms. Holmes, how you doing? Checking in from Augusta. Okay. On TikTok as well. How are you doing? Okay, so we have a lot of people checking in from. We have Mrs. Kyle from Augusta. So we have 2 people from Georgia. We got 1 from Tennessee. We got 1 from Florida. We have Los Angeles in the house as well over here. Hey, Ryan, I appreciate you. You part 2, Kai. Thank you so much. Roll Tide. Ryan from Alabama. How are you doing? Okay, we have Minnesota in the house, TikTok. Minnesota in the house, Lindsay. I appreciate you. Lindsay's an OG as well. Minnesota in the house. Hawaii. Okay. I'm doing good this week. A little bit better than last week. Last week was a lot. So I think we only have, up to go from here. Iowa in the house. Iowa, talk to me. Austin from Missouri. Austin, OG. Austin is always plugging the book in. Oh, no, I dropped my retainers. No. I'm right here. I'm just trying to get the book out. Yeah. So Austin's always trying to shout the book out. This is the book that Austin shouts out. Feeling Good. A mental health workbook. So I appreciate you. Alondra, how you doing? Newfoundland, Canada. I think that's how you say it. Libby. Where's Libby at? Yeah, we need Libby to come on. We need Libby. Libby's the OG as well. Missouri in the house. Okay. Chicago in the house. On TikTok, we have Nigeria. Wow. Genevieve from TikTok. Nigeria in the house. Okay, wow. Lindsay, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming through. So we're talking about the 3 signs that you might be neurodivergent. And I use the word neurodivergent on purpose because I didn't want us to talk about ADHD specifically or autism specifically or dyslexia or dyscalculia, so on and so forth. But I wanted to keep it broad, because the neurodivergent family is its own family. And I think that, we're the best family. You can also make a case that you could throw in bipolar into, the neurodivergent category, but I'm not the one who makes the rules, but that's just what I think in my mind. So what do I know? West Palm Beach in the house. Ryan, I appreciate you. Roll Tide. See, I like you already. Roll Tide. Tennessee in the house. Libby came through. Okay, Libby. So Libby came through where we couldn't start the live stream without Libby. We could not start. We have to pause the whole world for Libby to come through. But now that Libby's here, we can start with the first sign that you might be neurodivergent. So Libby Davison, thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for coming on the live stream so we can get the party started. Ontario in the house. Savage from Wisconsin. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? And this first sign right here, this is something that a lot of us struggle with this. So this does not mean that you're neurodivergent if you struggle with it, but almost more than 90% of the neurodivergent individuals that I know, including myself, struggle with this. So I do think that it is a thing. So number one, difficulty sleeping / insomnia. Signs that you might be neurodivergent. If you have a hard time sleeping / insomnia. And this can be a couple of different things. You can have a hard time going to sleep. You can have a hard time staying asleep. And sometimes you can even have a hard time waking up. But insomnia is its own thing. Savage, lots going on, but pushing forward. Well, I'm happy that you're still pushing forward. You know, life doesn't stop kicking our butt, but we can also fight back too. And that's the best that we can do. Difficulty sleeping / insomnia. Difficulty sleeping / insomnia. So Chicago in the house. Amanda, okay. Chicago in the house. Frida, what's up? So when we talk about insomnia and difficulty sleeping, let's talk about why neurodivergent people struggle to sleep. So my mentor, he told me, and he always likes to remind me that he's been practicing psychiatry for longer than I've been alive. He's been practicing for 40 years and I'm 31, right? So obviously I'm a baby in the grand scheme of things. But he told me, and this is back when I went to help open up his children's hospital in Dallas. We're working specifically with autistic kids. He said that 95%, and this is not in the DSM-5, this is not like evidence-based information, but in his clinical experience, he said that 95% of the autistic kids that he has worked with throughout his 40-year career have had some type of trouble sleeping at night. We're not even talking about ADHD. We're just talking about autism right here. 95%. And I look, back into my past, and at least 90% of the patients that I've had who are autistic have had some sort of trouble sleeping at night. And then we're not even getting to ADHD, but ADHD, I would argue that it's the same between the racing thoughts and your long to-do list that you never finished from 2 weeks ago that you're still catching up on things, and hyperfixation, which sometimes feels like mania. It's really difficult to get to sleep. It's so tough getting to sleep. It doesn't make it any easier that we have all these devices. We have cameras, we have cell phones, we have iPads, we have iPods, we have the Alexa devices, we have the PlayStations. We're overstimulated and we're tired at the same time, but we just can't get to sleep. We just cannot get to sleep for whatever reason. And John, yeah, John, that sounds good. Thank you. Multitasking. You see, I'm always doing two things at once. That's why I have a hard time sleeping at night. Amanda says, I've had insomnia, difficulty sleeping for as long as I can remember, whether it's feeling sleepy, falling asleep, or staying asleep. And what Amanda is saying here is what I've heard a lot of neurodivergent individuals say. And think back to your childhood. Think back to the times when you were trying to get some sleep for school and you couldn't get to sleep. You realize that other kids could sleep by 9, 10, but you were up until like 10, 11, sometimes midnight. And during those formative years, we don't need to be we never really need to be cutting sleep, honestly. But for a lot of the individuals who are neurodivergent, there's this thing called delayed sleep phase disorder, where our natural bedtime is a little bit later than other neurotypical people. So if you have a neurotypical sibling and they sleep every day at 9:30, your natural bedtime could be like 11:30 / midnight. Self-awareness. Thank you, Austin. And Libby says, my brain fights to stay awake. And that's how I feel. A lot of people in this community feel that way, where until you, and this is why a lot of people need some type of sleep aid, whether it's melatonin or over-the-counter Benadryl. Keep in mind, I'm not telling y'all what to take. I'm just a friend. I'm just a friend talking to you. But we know that melatonin is naturally occurring. So if you don't take melatonin, you can help yourself out by not being on these devices late at night, because the blue light from the devices, decreases the natural melatonin that your body produces. So you don't have to take melatonin 2, 5, 10 milligrams. You can just stop being on your devices much. But sometimes that is not enough for those of us who are neurodivergent, because we have so much going on in our heads, and it takes sometimes people need a little Seroquel to go to sleep, Ambien, or whatever the case may be. But we fight. Sometimes our brain fights to stay awake. And Blue Jay says 2:33 a.m. here. Coincidence. Blue Jay, where are you checking in from? I can see you're having a hard time sleeping. Well, speaking of Seroquel, Libby says 25 to 50 milligrams of Seroquel usually puts me out, but not before I start getting the munchies. Right. And that's the issue a lot of times with Seroquel and Zyprexa, olanzapine. They do make you feel sleepy, but they give you the munchies, kind of like the munchies that you get when you're high. Because you really have to eat something if you don't fall asleep. So, a lot of providers, we don't like going straight to the second generation antipsychotics to be used as a sleep aid, but sometimes we have to do it. We have to do it while making sure that we can account for the metabolic concerns. Make sure that our patients don't put on too much weight. And on TikTok, Tia says, Wellbutrin is probably why I can't sleep well. So Wellbutrin can be stimulating, Tia, but I'll argue that the classic stimulants might be a bit more stimulating. But depending on the time that you take the Wellbutrin, it can keep you up. I have heard that many times before. Hate that med munchies. Yeah, they're not fun. They're not fun. 2:30 is probably in the UK. Yeah. You're probably right. Blue Jay is in. So Leilani is correct. Guernsey, little island between England and France. Okay. So just by the time that you're talking to us, we can tell that you're probably neurodivergent. So welcome to the family. Cece says, I can be completely exhausted and my brain just won't shut down. And this is what a lot of neurodivergent individuals struggle with. Like, your brain just won't shut down for whatever reason. Your brain wants to go and go and go and go and go and go. And this is why a bedtime routine, a nighttime routine can be helpful, whether it's getting a workout in or whether you take a warm shower. I have some patients who they like to do the Mickey Ficky. They like to do the Mickey Ficky with their partners to help them go to sleep. So whatever you have to do to get to sleep, I support it. Preferably not hard drugs, but between the Mickey Ficky and substances, we'll go with the Mickey Ficky. Oh, I didn't know you lived in the UK. I did not know that about you, Leilani. I don't have trouble getting to sleep, but I won't go to bed until I'm tired enough. But I am woken too easily. The slightest touch or sound is enough to be interrupted. And Rachel, this is a good point. And this could be maybe your unique sleeping patterns, or it could be a hypersensitivity to sounds and to sensory things in your environment, which could make it harder for you to stay asleep. And I wasn't even thinking from that angle, but Rachel, you bring up a really good point. Really good point, Rachel. Really good point. I like that. Totally shocked when people tell me their brain doesn't just constantly go. Yeah, Wizard, those people have some when I say they, a lot of times when I say they, I'm going to be referring to neurotypical people. Nothing is wrong with them, but they don't know what it feels like to have that, Ferrari brain. As Libby says, our 3 a.m. ADHD brain is basically a 12-cylinder Ferrari Testarossa. Vroom. My sort of view says, in a long-term partnership with part of ADD just watching. Okay, hopefully you're learning. ADHD tried to sleep without the device, got up half hour ago as the thoughts were too loud. And Blue Jay, it takes a while for us to figure out what is going to allow us to sleep well. Sometimes it's a hot shower, it's a cold shower. Sometimes it's maybe doing a couple of push-ups, and sometimes maybe it's needing a sleep aid. But finding out what works for us is key, and it takes a while. My boyfriend has to take meds to sleep. Respect, respect. Oh, thank you for your service. Did not know that, Leilani. Thank you for your service. Euclid said, since you mentioned not falling asleep as a child, I couldn't do nap time. The only time I slept during the day is when I'm sick. Ah, wow. Okay, so even as a kid, you weren't able to sleep during nap time. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, wow, wow. Mickey Ficky. Mickey Ficky. I'd be going nonstop from 7 a.m., pushing through 3 p.m. and dinner time crashes, only to sit up on my phone until 1 a.m. And Cynthia, a lot of this is neurodivergence, and a lot of this is also our phones. Our phones, keep in mind that the phones that we have right now, when Bill Clinton was president of the United States, he didn't have that much technology in the whole White House. Our one cell phone has so much information on it, and our brains are so catching up to it. It's a lot. It's a lot for us. It's a lot for us. Having ADD is tough because I'm working. My brain can't keep up. Right, right, and that's why whatever system that works for us in terms of helping us get to sleep, it might not work for anybody else, but if it works for you, keep it. Like I wear this Aura ring. Obviously, I wear it in a very peculiar area, but I wear an Aura ring to objectively track my sleep because I'm always in the go. I'm traveling. I'm here. I'm there. I'm up, down, and left and right. And if I don't track my sleep, I'm gonna get to the point where I just crash, and then I'm gonna rot in the bed for a couple of days, recharge, hopefully, and then pop back out. So having a system to track your sleep and to measure your sleep is very important. I'm so glad this is early. Well, Savage, this is the normal time. It's just that I'm so late with it, but this is actually the normal time that we're supposed to go live. So I'm just doing a little bit better now because I have a better system. But this is normal. The other times were not normal. I'm so tired of inconsistent bedtime. I don't want to rely on sleep aid. And Rawtastic, I agree. It's not fun to rely on a sleep aid, but sometimes, depending on what your provider or doctor says, people may need sleep aids to just kind of build some, sleeping habits that are sustainable for them. And over time, like if you sleep every day at 10 p.m., after about a week or two, your body realizes that, okay, we sleep at 10 p.m. Then if during the third week you start to sleep at 11:30, your body starts to kind of feel funny. Like, okay, we're used to sleeping at 10 o'clock. Why are we sleeping at 10:30 now? So if you do something with consistency, your body will realize that, hey, this is our bedtime. All right, y'all, is the live freezing for anybody? Let me know because I want to make sure that the live is not freezing. So if our live is freezing, let me know so we can fix it. We got to clear a camera, but the Wi-Fi needs to not mess up. The Wi-Fi needs to not mess up. The Fitbit said I had a sleep pattern like a dolphin. Wow. Well, Cynthia, wow. Okay. Like a dolphin. Like a dolphin. Okay. Mickey Ficky. All right. So y'all tell me, am I cutting out? Yes or no? Let me know. Because I want to make sure that y'all can see me. I don't know what's up with the Wi-Fi. No, it's not. Okay, all right, cool. Well, I always assume that my Wi-Fi is tripping, so maybe my Wi-Fi is okay. My daughter was diagnosed neurodivergent at 3, but showed signs at 2. Okay, I'm guessing autism. She quit naps before 2. She to this day doesn't nap unless she's really sick at 14. She can also run on 7 hours of sleep better than 8. Oh, okay. The lack of naps, I guess that gives it away. No freezing here, all good. Okay. Okay, so Libby, it looks like it's on your end, which is weird because it's almost always on my end, but it looks like it's on your end, or maybe I'm tripping from your perspective. Okay, Lisa says there's no freezing. Okay, all right, cool. All right, now the second sign that you might be neurodivergent. Cheryl, how are you doing? The second sign that you might be neurodivergent is if you have a hard time fitting in, and not just because you're going to a new school or it's a new job. I'm not talking about recently. And I should have probably specified having a hard time fitting in throughout the majority of your life. Actually, let me rewrite that. I want to make sure we're a bit more specific. Having a hard time fitting in throughout the majority of your life. And I put the two there twice, so forgive me for that. But y'all get what I'm trying to say. If you felt like an oddball or an outcast, or you always felt like you had to work twice as hard to fit into social groups, or you felt like you didn't fit in, and you felt like you never really found your people, or you had to mask to be accepted in certain social groups, then that's a very neurodivergent thing. That's probably more telling than number one. And number one is quite telling. The lack of sleep. It's quite telling. So 1,000%. Wizard says only weird people get me. Ain't nothing wrong with being weird. Cheryl, it's good to see you. Amanda says number two is my whole life. LOL, I will not cry, but still that hit. Ooh, it hit you in the heart. It hit Amanda right here, right? It really hit you right there, huh? It really hit you right there. After 22 years of marriage, I slept in a different bedroom because husband snored. I had the best sleep. Then I was diagnosed ADHD. It wasn't just a snoring. Well, Kira, shout out to your doctor, because the whole time you thought that your husband was the problem, but your husband was never the problem. It was just ADHD. It wasn't none of y'all's fault. It wasn't nobody's fault. But yeah, a lifetime struggle, feeling like you don't fit in. That's a very neurodivergent thing. And when it comes to autism, obviously autism is a different language. So you don't speak the language that they speak. When I say they, I'm talking about neurotypical. So you're gonna have a hard time fitting in. When you're talking about ADHD, the inability to regulate your mood and to regulate your attention is gonna make it hard for you to have friends a lot of times. It's gonna make it hard for you to sustain friendships, to keep up with them. And even when you move away from your friends, to like remember, oh, I wanted to text her. I wanted to text him. I have friends, but I forget to reach out. These are the things that can make it hard for you to connect with people. And Gabby, you can have both. You can have ADHD and autism, if that's what you were asking. And Melanie says, professional and masking here. Every time I walk out of the door, I put the mask on. I realize now as an adult that most of my good friends are also neurodivergent, as we seem to click better. And Melanie, I want you to don't judge yourself in the masking. Understand that the reason why you mask is because they don't understand you. So in order to fit in with the people around you, and sometimes to put people at ease, we like to mask, because we know that if we show who we are, sometimes people are worried, or they're like, oh, that's weird, or they can't connect with us. And masking is how we connect with them, the neurotypical people, because the way we operate is just not normal to them, if that makes sense. And I feel like if you're already here in this community, you know what I'm talking about. All of my closer friends end up being neurodivergent as well. So I loop. You know what's funny? A lot of us who are in this, chat, whether you're on TikTok or LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you're at, a lot of us can relate to this. When you end up really talking to your close friends, you find out that they're also probably neurodivergent as well, and that's why they get you. I have both severe ADHD and autism. Okay, Austin, which one came first, or which one was diagnosed first for you? And Gabby, yeah, you can, like Austin right here. Austin has both. A lot of people have both. I love your content, Miss Cheryl. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Can ADHD get headaches from taking long naps? Not that I'm aware of. It might be specific to you. I'm a golden retriever. I make friends everywhere. Libby, I can see that. It always felt like masking was showing I cared and being considerate. Then I realized how tired I feel at the end of the day after having to screw on a smile, sit still, do as much work as I should, and act normal, and marvel at how tense I feel. Kimberly, it takes a lot of energy. And I've been wrestling with, what advice to give people when it comes to masking, because a lot of times you are rewarded for masking, especially in professional spaces. We if I'm going to tell the truth, which I've told myself I want to keep it as real as I can online. Sometimes when you mask in professional spaces, guess what happens? You're rewarded, you get pay raises, you get promoted, you go up the ladder because you're like, oh yeah, you're the perfect model employee. You're like you're like the teacher's pet. Like we all love you, and sometimes that comes at the cost of being who you are. And that's just an unfortunate reality of the world right now. Let me see. I'm at a point in life where I'm doing a lot of unmasking unapologetically. So the amount of times I've been taken advantage of by narcissists, I care so much less about fitting in and just accepting myself for who I am. First love of the show goes to Rawtastic. I like that because it takes a very brave person to want to stand up for themselves. It's a very brave thing. And I've made videos on PTSD, Adriana, but I have to make I gotta make some more on PTSD. And PTSD can look like ADHD and these neurodivergent conditions because a lot of the neurodivergent experience is traumatic. So PTSD kind of comes along with it. You know how you go to Subway and they used to market the $5 foot long, and then by the time you're ready to pay for your meal, it's like $7.12. And you're like, how the hell did we go from $5 to $7.12 on a $5 foot long? And they can never explain to you why the $5 foot long is $7.12. Or that extra $2.12 is like the PTSD, and the $5 is the ADHD, if that makes sense. The ADHD is there, you know it, and you're ready to pay for it, but there's always something extra, and that extra a lot of times is the trauma, the PTSD, the CPTSD. Those things just kind of come with the package for a lot of us, unfortunately. And Joy, you make a narcissist suffer by just walking away. And the goal is not to make them suffer. The goal is to save yourself. The ADHD tax, yeah, it's quite expensive. Quite expensive. It took a long time to get here, so thank you. Congratulations. I'm very proud of you. I know how difficult it is to be yourself in a world that doesn't reward you for being that. So congratulations. You're doing the best that you can. I love when I click with another neurodivergent. The mask comes off. Hey, Flower B, take your mask off. Take your mask off. But a lot of times when you meet somebody else and they're neurodivergent, you have to feel them out first, right? You have to kind of ask them a couple of questions, see all right, okay, all right, so you stay up late, okay, so you like to smell like gasoline, there's a couple of weird things that we do, and after you feel them out, you're like, hold on, yeah, ADHD. Oh, hey, you gotta feel them out, and once you feel them out, you can just take your mask off. If you're not masking, then how would you show up? What's the behavior when not masking on a regular basis? The behavior is being as authentically you as possible. And some of the things that you do may fit in with, social norms, and that's fine. But if you're neurodivergent, like I said, you're going to feel as if you never really fit in with the people around you for the majority of your life. And I grew up always hearing, why do you do things? Are you from the South? Amber, are you from the South? It sounds like you're from the South. My grandma will always say, I'm going to get you a mini recorder so you can play back what I just told you. Oh, it sounds like my childhood a little bit. The social anxiety. Oh, and blame it on Quay says, I like this border. Hey, Quay on TikTok, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And Brian says, I have extremely bad OCD. So Brian, who's asking about OCD on TikTok, I'll make more content about OCD. But with OCD, you treat it with medications and you treat it with therapy. Therapy is very helpful for OCD because when you have those thoughts, you feel like you have to do something to relieve the anxiety. The anxiety in OCD is overwhelming. So Brian, sorry that it took so long to get to your question. All right. The social anxiety of never knowing if you acted normal or stressful. Ooh. I like that one. I've worked hard the last year to be more social, and most of my time is now spent anxiously ruminating about every interaction. This is a very neurodivergent thing. And Blue Jay, I'm not diagnosing you, but I'm just saying, leaving a social interaction and being like, Yeah, that wasn't my best work, you know. And it's not even like you wanted that person's approval. Because let's say, you had a crush on that person. Of course, you can be a little bit self-conscious, like, how's my breath? You can be a little self-conscious, but when the majority of your social interactions, you walk away from it like, dang, like that's the wrong thing. Was that smooth? That's a neurodivergent thing. It's definitely a neurodivergent thing. Oh, Amory, so you grew up in Houston, yeah? Okay, yeah. That's how we talk in the South. And for those of us who grew up in the South and we were neurodivergent, like, our parents didn't know what was going on. Neither did our grandparents. So a lot of times they were just frustrated, not knowing that, there's a little bit of some sprinkle of autism in there, a little bit of ADHD, but, you don't know what to call it. So you just, you don't know what to call it. Why do I gaslight myself, my feelings to everyone, including myself? Sounds like a neurodivergent thing, Miranda. But it normally comes when you aren't sure of yourself, and sometimes we're not sure of ourselves because we haven't practiced being ourselves. Like we have to practice being ourselves. It's really hard to be ourselves as an adult. Ashley, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You helped me with the devil's lettuce. Hey, Ashley, I'm telling y'all, it's the devil's lettuce is, it was hard for me to put it down. It's still something that I inherently and naturally enjoy because it helped me with insomnia for a long time. But I know how difficult it can be to stop. But congratulations. I'm very proud of you, Ashley. Very, very proud of you. PTSD is not really within the umbrella of neurodivergence, but it's a big part of the neurodivergent experience. So I will put it in there. It's a very big part of it. Yeah. There's a for sure line separating OCD and generalized anxiety disorder. Yeah, with OCD, it's those obsessive thoughts that you have to have some type of, like, a compulsion is, and I gotta go get some water because we're at the 30-minute mark for the water break. But a compulsion is something that you just have to do. Compulsive behavior you have to do to make you feel at ease. Impulsive decisions, impulsivity is, I want to hook up with that girl at the bar. That's an impulsive decision. Now, a compulsive decision is, ooh, that person makes me feel a certain type of way. I need to, I feel dirty here. I need to go wash my hands. Or like, I'm not sure if did I really do this. I just, I'm already on the highway. I'm already on the 405, but I feel like I didn't put the stove. I'm gonna turn back around and go home. Let me check, see if the stove is off. Once I do that, I can relax. And a lot of times you do that, you leave the house, you come back again, like, hold up, I didn't turn the stove off. Did I turn the stove off? So there's a difference between impulsivity and compulsive behavior. Spending money is very impulsive. It can be compulsive too, but very impulsive. And let me answer this question, and then I'll go get the water. But the reason, so you have to understand that in neurodivergent individuals, especially those of us with ADHD, the substance use rates for us are at least 2 to 3 times higher than they are for neurotypical people. And why do people with ADHD, use the devil's lettuce, Mary Jane? Because a lot of times you want to escape your own head. You can't quiet your thoughts. You have racing thoughts at night, so you can't sleep. So you might want to roll up a little bit of the devil's lettuce to help you sleep. A lot of times it makes you feel at ease. It makes you giggly. It allows you to be more sociable. And people self-medicate before they have a diagnosis or before they know what's going on. So a lot of people who are using the devil's lettuce to make themselves feel better are actually neurodivergent, and they don't know it, but they're self-medicating with this. There's 3 main things that neurodivergent individuals self-medicate with when they don't know their diagnosis, in my opinion. There's 3 main things: the devil's lettuce, alcohol, and sex. Those are the 3 main things that neurodivergent individuals tend to self-medicate with especially when they don't know their diagnosis and they don't know that something is going on. So thank you for asking that question. Yeah. Yeah, and look, the beers help you because it helped you feel a little bit loose. Like, you were dancing and you were vibing, you were feeling good for the first time in a long time. Let me go grab some Jess, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Let me go get some water so we can do the water break. I thought I had some water in here. I'm gonna go get some water. I'll be right back. Y'all. Get me some water. What you got enough? All right. Gotta get some water. Florida water. Kai, the three vices that neurodivergent individuals tend to resort to, and there we go. Amanda's right, and we can have a whole live stream about that, and we really need to talk about it because sometimes, and people don't understand, nobody wakes up and chooses to be a drug addict. Nobody is like, oh, I'm gonna smoke all the. No, nobody wakes up and chooses to do that. Nobody wakes up and chooses to drink their tail off. Nobody wakes up and chooses to hop into bed with each and every person. Now that is sex is fun, but a lot of sex has to do with power and autonomy, and sometimes you have to just check in with yourself and make sure that that's what you wanted to actually do. So yeah, these three: alcohol, the devil's lettuce, and brain sex. That's the third one. There we go. He's like, oh my God. I love the inclusivity I feel right now. Right, Kristen, thank you. And that's why we have the water break. The water break is to allow us to drink some water because we forget to drink water. So can somebody drop the magic word in the chat? Whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, drop the magic word in so that we can go ahead and we can get some fluids in. Miranda says, I'm now only a nighttime devil's lettuce user, but I want to cut it out eventually. If I smoke during the day, I'm mad paranoid. Been celibate for 2 years. Congratulations. That's a long time. Congratulations. And give up on drinking, thank God, because last summer I was using liquor as an anti-anxiety medication. Okay. And keep in mind, alcohol works very closely to how the benzos work. So, there's a reason why people use the two interchangeably. I was tired of feeling like crap all the time, but now I'm just numb. But Miranda, what you're doing is you're doing the hard work. This is the dirty work. It's not easy, but it's simple. But it's not easy at all. It's very difficult. So you have to give yourself a love of the show. Congratulations. Time for water. All right. So Megan dropped in the magic word. Big cheers, y'all. Big cheers. My TikTokers, big cheers. Big cheers. Big cheers. Big cheers. And also keep in mind on TikTok, I will be on TikTok after this live stream for the after party, where we'll be playing some music and we'll be vibing, having a good time and vibing. Big cheers, big cheers. Hope everybody took the time out to get something to drink, because you see how much I drank right there? 500 milliliters. I drank like 250 right now. Probably do some more. Hope says, the alcohol and Mickey Ficky got me before my diagnosis. The devil's lettuce help post-diagnosis untangle my thoughts and help me remember things I have blocked due to trauma in the past. Hope. Something's in my mouth. what you're saying here actually makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And this is why the diagnosis is so helpful, because now you can remove the shame from yourself. Now you can you can tell yourself, oh no, I'm not an alcoholic. And even if you were, you're still a human being who's worthy of love, attention, and respect. But now you can say, oh, it wasn't that I wanted to like drink so much. I just had undiagnosed ADHD. It wasn't that I wanted to hook up with everybody. I just had undiagnosed ADHD, if that makes sense. And then, there are some therapeutic effects to the devil's lettuce. The hard thing about it is trying to figure out how to regulate it. And, there's no way to have it standardized. So it can be very difficult. I'm pretty sure I clicked on this live by accident. Well, looks like you came in on accident, but you get to decide whether you want to stay on purpose. So I appreciate you, Miranda. We try and keep it wholesome. We try and keep it wholesome and live. I met neighbor. We're a neighbor. Oh, you're also from Canada too. And Winnie says, I am 60 years old, and whoa, the shoe fits. Yeah, especially for women. But sometimes you get to your 60s, and you're like, hold up, I never knew that this is my life. And then you start feeling like the wife off of Mrs. Doubtfire, where you're like, the whole time it was ADHD. Bear, it becomes difficult to remember that sometimes, but you're still a human being who's worthy of love, attention, and respect. I always like to put attention in there because attention is a human need, and we forget that. My autistic kids help me remember that all the time. Attention is a human need. If I go like a year or 2 years without, and I go outside and nobody compliments me, oh, you're nice, or you have a nice smile, or if nobody says anything nice about me for 2 years, it's gonna make my self-esteem drop. We need some type of attention. We need attention. The clothes we wear, and like we need attention. It's a human need. So just keep that in mind. It's a legitimate human need. Cora on TikTok says, I wanted to know if it's normal for people to pick on their scalp. So it depends. I think maybe everybody may pick every now and then, but if you're picking excessively, then it could be a mental health issue. Drinking alcohol, from my experience, made my anxiety worse. So Lynn, alcohol tends to make you feel better in the moment, and it tends to make you feel a little bit worse after that. Yeah, we need attention and validation. It's a human need. People forget you need attention. You need attention. You need attention. And sometimes we'll be at the gym and, I'll catch myself looking in the mirror. Or I might buy a certain shirt because I like the way my biceps look. I'm like, okay, I like this shirt because it made my biceps stand out. So do I have anything to say about the girl who wears her shorts up super high? I ain't got nothing to say about her because I like attention too. We're all human, We all do the same thing in different forms, and then we get upset at each other. I am 28 and I have. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Alejandro. I have Asperger's. I've been single my whole life. How would I be successful dating? I feel awkward and I don't fit in. Well, man, Alejandro, we can have a whole live stream on this because I really feel that there needs to be a space for neurodivergent individuals. And I'm telling you, and I'm not saying that your person has to be autistic as well, but having somebody who understands your struggles is going to make you, instead of you hating yourself for feeling socially awkward, imagine if the things that you did that were socially awkward, imagine if a girl was like, oh, that's really hot. Imagine a girl getting turned on by the things that you found to be awkward about yourself. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. See? Yee! Don't get me started. Don't get me started. We need a neurodivergent space, an app. I spent my whole life, but once I got more mature, I had to find a balance. Okay. And yeah, a lot of people have not quit the devil's lettuce completely, and they do tend to find, a balance. So it's all about what works for you. And Tana says, that's why I always compliment people when I go out. It makes me feel so good. I like that. That's super dope. And I try my best to compliment as many people as possible. And sometimes it's so like unnatural, or it's not like the norm. So when you do this, people are going to think that you're flirting. But no, sometimes you just want to make people feel good. Ever since I met my husband and cut my friend circle down drastically, I've unmasked for the two of them, my friend and husband. I hope they know that when I smile with them is genuine. Ah, I like that. I like that. And see, that's the cool thing about unmasking. When you're in a space where you can unmask, then Crystal, if I'm hanging around with you and you're comfortable enough with the area, the environment to be yourself, if I say something and you laugh, I'm like, okay, that's actually a funny joke. That was actually funny. It wasn't that thing where, I talk and you're like, like it was actually funny to you because you don't feel a need to mask. You don't feel a need to mask. Yeah, look, Megan, we got this comedy show in Atlanta, July 11th at the Uptown Comedy Corner. And if there are any neurodivergent people who want to find their people, come out. I will bring you on stage and we will find the love of your life. We will find the love of we will find the love of your life. I have so much fun doing this. So one person is used to getting no attention is now used to solitary life, now fears attention. How do you overcome all that and try and return to the social world? Kelly, I think it's helpful to understand that attention is a human need, right? So we need water, we need oxygen. Attention is up there. You need attention. So you have to make it okay for yourself to receive attention and slowly get into those spaces where you can start to be, recognized by people, perceived by people, and make it okay for you to take up space in a certain environment because you belong there. But that's a mental game where it's kind of difficult convincing yourself that you belong in certain areas. And look, raw-tastic. So you are right. Whenever there's a space of neurodivergent people, if they're dating each other or trying to like have fun, this is a prime area for narcissists to come through. But if we've been working on our boundaries and we've been working on speaking up for ourselves, then you're going to be able to recognize the signs of a narcissist, and you don't judge them because they're still human, but you can just kind of pull back and look for your people. Isn't it wrong to need attention? So many times in my recovery, I've heard that we shouldn't seek external validation. If it comes, we can receive it, but it's seen as trying too hard to seek it out. So, Kimberly, I'm not saying that we should seek out external validation. We shouldn't seek it out, but we do need attention. It's a human need. We need attention. And when you find somebody that becomes your partner or your spouse, they make you a priority. That gives you a lot of attention. When you're at in school, in a classroom, when the classroom is too big, sometimes it becomes harder to get the teacher's attention. So some people like smaller classrooms where they can get more time with the teacher because now they are the priority and you're helping me. Attention is a human need. The Neurodivergent dating app coming soon. I hope to see you at the show in Atlanta. I hope to see you there. Maybe we can find your person if you haven't found your person yet. And Alejandro, if the devil's lettuce is helping you out with your depression, it doesn't mean you have to stop it. The thing I say is talk to your doctor and see how does this interact with the meds I'm taking. Like, for example, like people who smoke cigarettes, right? So there's a medication called Zyprexa or olanzapine. It's a second generation antipsychotic. It's used for schizophrenia and or bipolar disorder, but it can be used for other things as well. When you're taking this medication, if you smoke cigarettes, all right, you have to tell your doctor this because when you smoke cigarettes, you're going to be smoking out the medication. The hydrocarbons from the cigarette smoke clears the medication faster. So if you smoke cigarettes, you need a higher dose of that particular medication, right? So if you're taking Zyprexa 10 milligrams and you smoke cigarettes all the time, you may only be getting 5 milligrams of the Zyprexa. So the cigarette smoke, the hydrocarbons interact with the medication, so it clears it out faster. So that's why I'm saying, if you're, smoking the devil's lettuce, just let your doctor know so that, whatever medications you're taking, so that way you know that if there's any interactions, you can catch that type of thing. It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm afraid of my doctor and look, it's sometimes hard to tell your doctor the truth. right? But the more truthful we can be, the better, So try and make it, okay for you to tell the doctor the truth, because it's hard. It's hard. Like I remember being, in grade school middle school, and the doctor would be like, "Are you sexually active?" And then your parents would be behind you, and you're like looking over your shoulder. So it's kind of hard to tell the truth. We did do a water break, Leilani, but we can do another one at an hour. Kelly, I've never been out that way, but my team is getting assembled now. I would love to come out that way for a comedy show and help my fellow neurodivergent people find the love of their lives. Mia, how are you doing? How are you doing? I don't show excitement no matter what birth. So Terry, this could be a neurodivergent thing where maybe the facial expressions don't match the situation. It could be, but I'm not sure if you typed something else in there. I may have missed it. For weight loss, we don't use Zyprexa for weight loss. In fact, it actually makes you gain weight. But I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to. Question for adults with ADHD. In hindsight, would smaller classroom sizes have benefited you even if you were super social? What age did you start to mask? Ooh, what a good question. What a good question. All right, so I'll answer this, but all of us can answer it, including the people on TikTok. And somebody on TikTok asked, how do you feel about metformin and blah, 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 blah. Black seed oil. I'm not familiar with the black seed oil interaction with metformin, but we do give metformin a lot to help mitigate the weight gain. But let me answer your question, Grace. I think smaller classroom sizes would have benefited me, yes. And I was super social, so yeah. And what age did I start to mask? I don't ever remember not masking. Like once I figured out what, I'll probably say second and third grade. Second and third grade. That's my answer. Second and third grade. Josh, I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Tanis, well, hopefully I can come to your city eventually. Hopefully I can come to your city. I'm looking into ketamine therapy for my anxiety and depression. There's a lot of evidence with ketamine and S-ketamine as well. All right, Blue Jay, I wish you the best. Hopefully you can get some sleep tonight out there, across the pond. This course is more intentional in smaller classes. Yeah, I agree with that as well. I like the smaller classes. My 6-year-old is so shy, and she seems to mask just like I did when I was little. Older adults used to call me an old soul. No one thought I could be a little autistic, but same for my daughter now. And I feel so bad. I don't want her to feel how I did all my life. So Miranda, here's the thing. You can empower your daughter to unmask and to be as her as possible, and give her that safe space. But you have to understand that the world that we live in is still going to reward her for masking. So I'm not saying I know what the answer is, because I don't, but giving her a safe space to be herself while not judging her for masking, because sometimes you don't realize that you're masking. Sometimes you mask so well that it becomes who you are. You perfected this character. You really fit, you figured out how people move and operate, and you've mastered how they go about doing things. So I think you're doing the best that you can. You're giving her a safe space to be herself while also recognizing that, hey, sometimes the masking thing happens, and that's okay. Because you don't want to judge yourself. You don't want to judge yourself. Let me see. So it's comedy and matchmaking. So on TikTok, digital auntie, yes, comedy and matchmaking. I want to see people find their people. Yeah, I want to see people find their people. That makes me excited. They would benefit. Teach neurodiversity. So Mona, on TikTok, you said who would benefit, Mona? I didn't get the last part. So who would benefit? Erickson says, what a perfect description of masking. Yeah, look, so sometimes you can get so good at masking, it becomes who you are. You've become that person. you can play that role so well. Because look, you're doing this to survive socially. We all need attention. Attention is it's a need. We all need attention. And this is the answer to Grace. That was an awesome question, by the way. Really, really good question. Really good question. I think a lot of us would have appreciated the smaller classes. E. Erickson, I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much. Cheryl, have a great night. I appreciate you. So for my son, yes, there were times he get distracted by paper shuffling. Well, come to think of it, smell someone breathing. I'll try concentrating too hard and fall asleep in grade school. Yeah, it's hereditary. Parker, is difficult. Sometimes people have all three. So the only way to really know is to go get like a full on psychiatric evaluation. And my thing is, I think everybody needs a psych eval. Like after COVID, before COVID, you can still make an argument that we needed it, but after COVID, for damn sure, everybody and their mama and their mamas needs a psych eval. Masks can be beautiful. We can become our mask. At the end of the day, we're still hiding our thing self. Yeah. Every day we're trying to come closer to ourselves. The smaller class sizes of K-12, along with being home for our boys, has been amazing for them, especially our oldest, as his ADHD is fairly moderate. Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, like when you look at the smaller class sizes, it's something that as a parent you have to rig your system in order to get it. Whether you are in a more affluent environment where you can get these classes that don't get so large, or whether you homeschool or whatever the case may be, it becomes really difficult to get those smaller class sizes. But I find them to be quite helpful. Yeah, everyone needs mental health help. The older I get, the more my autistic symptoms seem to come out. I feel glitchy at times and have been struggling. I'm starting to keep more to myself because everything is too much. My daughter got diagnosed first. And Lydia, this is what I'm seeing a lot. You have to give yourself, a safe space to process everything, because you do feel defective sometimes, and you're not. But when you have to rely on so many people for help, it can feel like that. I've done over a dozen full evals in the past 5 years. Cipriana, keep going. You're doing the best that you can. You're 21. You've been in and out of a lot of facilities. You're doing a better job than you think you're doing. I have to watch my son go through things that trigger my younger self. Oh, he just got the 504 plan in Western New York. Sometimes it's tough fighting for the 504 and the IEPs. And as a parent, if you have to stand your ground, you got to do what you have to do as a parent, And there are more breaks, more flexibility. He gets time to stim. Oh, that's tight. That's crazy. That's tight. That's super dope. E. Erickson, I always felt like I've been able to I have been able to way too easily be a chameleon between my lawyer person, my gym person, my home life. I just thought it was me for almost 30 years until I was diagnosed. Yeah. And I think Libby earlier was talking about having friends. Like, she makes friends all over the place. Parker, the thing I'll say about this is sometimes I've had patients with bipolar disorder who don't believe that it's real. Start off by keeping them safe. If they don't believe, that's fine. But if it's getting to a point where their safety is compromised, just make sure that there's a safety plan, and that you can take the most linear path to getting help. All right. Now, the third sign that you might be neurodivergent is you have special interests that are unique to you. Let me see what Leilani said. I'm so proud. ADHD mom fighting for, you got to fight for these things, unfortunately. I wish it came with every school system. On TikTok, Julie on TikTok, I don't know about doctors who know about neurodivergence in the state of Florida. I'll let you know when I know, but I don't know off the top of my head. Mona, got you for the classroom size. Got you. All right, and we could have a whole. Where's my pen at? Mickey Ficky. We could have a whole live stream about, like, even tonight's live. We could get in depth into so many more topics. Well, actually, I'll just let the look what I did. Look at what I did. The whole pen just exploded on me. Just exploded on me. Great. I'll let the moderators maybe keep up with it. But we can have live streams on each one of these things. We can talk about Insomnia number one as its own stream. We could talk about masking as its own live stream. We can talk about number 3, special interests as its own thing. We can talk about devices that neurodivergent people tend to lean on to: substance, alcohol, devil's lettuce, sex. We can talk about all these things. Really good topic ideas. Yeah, could you add that to the chat, Leilani? And also, we're at the 1 hour mark, so another water break. Big cheers. Let's get some water in. Let's stay hydrated. All right, before we talk about the special interest, let me see what Velma said. And Jovan, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think these are good topics that could bring a lot of value to us. I became unmasked for my whole life being bipolar with ADHD. Now I decided to unmask. You lose friends because they don't know you that way. Velma, yes, and we probably need our Leilani, if you can write this down. We need live streams on all of this, because yes, when you unmask, you can prepare to lose friends. I'm just gonna be real with y'all, because your friends, when y'all curated this friendship, they were befriending your mask. They weren't befriending you. So as you lean more into yourself, you will find out who your people are, good or bad. So buckle up. It's gonna be a ride. It's gonna be a ride. You gotta make it fun. Number 3, special interest unique to you. Signs that you might be neurodivergent. Like, what are some things that you only like that nobody else likes? Like, if you can talk to me about, if you can sit here and you can talk to me about, tell me about the Civil War, or ancient civilization, or if you can rattle off each Taylor Swift album, each song, or if you like Prince, you have his whole discography, or so many things can be special interests. But normally when you talk about special interests, these are things that you tend to hyperfixate on for a long time. And if people don't interrupt you, you can talk about these things for hours on end. But a lot of times, because of the masking, you don't really bring these things out to the forefront. So if you really are a fan of, like, if you're a historian and about all the wars, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, and you love to collect memorabilia and you love history and facts, you're probably not talking to people about this every single day. You're probably going to be like, oh, who's playing right now? Is it the Mavericks, the Celtics? Who you got? You got Kyrie? You got Jason Tatum? You're going to talk about the more popular topics because people may not identify with your special interests. Oh, sports could be one. I think sports could be a special interest, but it's kind of an accepted one. And the special interest thing, Percy, this is more so specific to autism. That is correct. That's correct. Raising monarch caterpillars in a different. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about, because I have no idea what Claire's talking about here. I'd still like to hear about it, but I have no idea. Raising monarch caterpillars and the different stages of instar caterpillars, the different generations of monarch butterflies in one season. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Because all I know is that the butterfly is like a caterpillar, and then it metamorph, like something happens and it turns into a butterfly. Swifties and Mesopotamia. Okay, what's Mesopotamia? What does that mean? I have a special. This makes my skin crawl. But that's cool though that you have a special interest in spiders. This is definitely a special interest. And you put the little heart eyes. So you really like spiders. What's your favorite spider? I'm a situational masker. Professional environment must be done. Megan, I understand. I respect. I respect because sometimes masking could when masking could cost you your job and you have kids to provide for a spouse and the family. I don't blame you for masking. I will never judge somebody for doing what they have to do to survive. Just keep that in mind. I'll tell you about it. Okay, the butterflies. Okay, collecting things excessively, rocks, certain antique items, stamp collecting, not to the extreme of hoarding. Melanie, you're right. You're right. You're correctly. You're right. Yeah, you're on the money. Any but jumping spiders, my favorite. Ooh, those are the ones I'm afraid of. The jumping spiders. Okay, okay, okay. Wow. I give classes now at local libraries. They pupate into a chrysalis. You can see their heart line in the chrysalis. It's really cool. Pretty sure you're ADHD and so my thing is um so probably like one of my favorite things to do in LA is I would just walk around. And if we're being honest, I used to just take an edible and walk around and just be looking around, you know. And during those walks, I would have loved to have stumbled at a library and learn all about this. I'd be taking notes and the big old. Oh, so other people like spiders. I did not know. Okay, wow, 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 wow. I know rocks, but I didn't know spiders were. Okay, okay. I did not know. Okay. Are autistic individuals more prone to hyperfixations, or are special interests different from hyperfixation? So a special interest is different from a hyperfixation, in my opinion. So a special interest is like the jumping spiders, the rocks, the butterflies, the caterpillars, and the hyperfixation is it can be that, but you can also be hyperfixated on a task, my homework. I'm hyperfixated on this thing. You can be hyperfixated on a person. So I think hyperfixations are a bit more expansive than special interest. So I see it as rectangles and squares. Like special interest can be a hyperfixation, but not all hyperfixations are special interests, if that makes sense. I hope I wasn't rapping, confusing myself and going in circles. Unfortunately, public school isn't set up to offer. And Grace, this is a conversation that we need to have. A lot of the schools are not set up for gifted and neurodivergent kids, and not even the most affluent of schools. This is novel. I think we're just now learning about all of this. These been our bathroom sinks. Yeah, I'm scared of spiders. Mona says it is different. Oh, so Mona confirmed for me on TikTok. Mona, thank you very much. And Mona says no to the spiders. Okay, that makes me feel good because I'm like, does everybody here like spiders? And Sierra says, didn't realize what masking was until I joined. Makes so much sense now. And just once again, back to the masking point. Unmasking is a very difficult process. It's not anything simple. This is really hard work. It's very difficult. So just be kind to yourself as you unmask. And if you're not in a space where you can unmask, then that's fine too. Is autism the same thing as neurodivergent? So autism is within the neurodivergent, umbrella of conditions. ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, are also in there as well. And you can make an argument for other mental health conditions as being neurodivergent. For example, 1% of the population has schizophrenia. I would call that a neurodivergence to me, but people refer to mainly ADHD and autism is what people are talking about when they say neurodivergent. I used to have a huge phobia of spiders until jump. Oh my god, the bone jumping spider. Oh my god. Well, it sounds like it was a spiritual experience for you. Um, wow, wow. And perhaps says any personality disorder is neurodivergence. Okay, okay, I can see that. In Missouri, yeah. So it's like that in a lot of states. So at the moment, my hyperfixation is uranium glass and searching for it in thrift stores. It's old antique glass things that glow under UV light. I won't go on because I write a novel. So my things, I like when people speak about things with passion. Like if this is Melanie's thing, this is really Melanie's thing. Uranium glass. Like imagine going to every single thrift store in your city and saying, "Hey, y'all got some uranium glass?" Then you can become the uranium glass lady. And then here's the cool thing about the special interest, Melanie. When you find somebody else who is deep into uranium glass, you instantly have a best friend because not this is not like typical for people to be hyper fixated on uranium glass and like where would you find this from? Like where would I go to find uranium glass? Like I have no idea what it looks like. I would never think about the like. So if you find somebody else who likes uranium glass, oh no, you found a best friend, and almost instantly, jumping spiders are so curious and cute. Wait, are these jumping spiders? Are they safe? Normally, I don't even ask if spiders are safe. I just kind of assume that spiders are dangerous, and I stay out the way. But are these spiders safe? Sugar gliders. I'm assuming that's a spider as well. Oh, so they're safe. Okay, cool. Did not know that. Because normally when I see spiders, I gotta squish. I gotta step on it and squish it. I don't really wait to see if it's a safe spider. I gotta handle business. I became terrified of spiders. My friend's brother. Oh, Carly, sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. And Bear, dyslexia is a type of neurodivergence. It is, and also keep in mind. Just take dyslexia for example. If like you are dyslexic, you remember that growing up, like reading, learning to read is a very formative thing. Like that's a pretty big developmental milestone. Like the first time that you were able to read. I didn't learn how to read until I was in second grade, and of course this is because I was coming from different countries. We're coming from Norway, into Nashville, Tennessee. So like that was just really big on my mental. It was just a big life change. But when you learn how to read, the whole world opens up to you because now, guess what? Reading allows you to communicate with the world. So when you can't read or you have a hard time struggling with reading and comprehension, guess what? It's going to be hard for you to communicate with the world. And what's autism? Autism is a condition where you struggle to communicate with the world. So a lot of the frustrations that you have when you're dyslexic, you're going to have when you're also autistic, if that makes sense, right? If let's say I get stuck in China for a week or two, and this is probably a bad example because in China people speak English, so But let's say I was stuck in a specific small town in China where nobody speaks English, and the chance of that happening is like super small. But let's just say it happened, and I'm trying to read Mandarin, and I can't read it, and I can't communicate with people. At some point, I'm going to get very frustrated, especially if I don't have my iPhone and I can't call somebody. I'm going to be very frustrated. It's going to be really difficult to communicate with the outside world when I can't read and I can't comprehend. So learning disabilities like dyslexia, dyscalculia, those things can make it really difficult to also communicate with the outside world. And you have a lot of the same frustrations that other neurodivergent individuals have. A sugar glider is a screw. Jumping spiders are very docile. Will only bite you if you. Well, Rawtastic, if you had like a YouTube channel where you talked about jumping spiders, I would watch. I think I would watch it, but depending on like how it looks like, I might be like, I'm good. My interest is medical conditions, and my daughter and I study people to understand why they do things. Oh, I like that. Also, when I get into learning a new craft, I overly dive into it. Wasted plant money. I love antique glass too. So beautiful. Got a whole cabinet of green glass. I think that's pretty cool. That's super. And because you share it with your daughter, y'all have a special bond there. So that's super. That's super dope. Masking is hard work. I'm now 62 and tired. Just want to be me. I've been diagnosed in my 20s. Been diagnosed with resistant bipolar. So, Bama, when you say resistant bipolar, what do you mean? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? How does ADHD medication make you feel if you need it? So, Grace, thank you for admitting that you use it recreationally. I think you. How about you ask people who have taken ADHD medications what it felt like for the first time? So, if you have ADHD and you took your stimulants for the first time, how did it feel like? Can you describe it to Grace? So, I'll describe it to you. So, I took, I think it was Ritalin. I think it was Ritalin. I'm not sure, but I think it was Ritalin. And I took it for the first time when I was like 26. And for the very first time, I went to my the girl I was in at the time. I went to my girlfriend's house. Normally, when I would go to my girlfriend's house and I had work to do, I would do anything but do the work. I would normally go and try and watch like football highlights. I would watch like Chris Johnson, Tennessee Titans highlights, and I would watch like the Music City Miracle. Like I would distract myself as best as possible, or like I would try and kiss up on my girlfriend and be like, I'm like, hey, you want to make you feel like I would do anything but do my work. But on this particular day, I went to the doctor. I got diagnosed with ADHD. I went to the pharmacy to pick up my medications. I ate because the doctor told me that it can stifle your appetite. I took the medication. I went to my girlfriend's house, her apartment. I don't even remember if I even kissed her. I just was like, hey, babe, how you doing? And I went straight to her room. I opened the laptop. I started doing my work. And like 2 hours later, I did like a week's worth of work in 2 hours. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I thought back to my whole life. I was like, wow, my whole life, I've been working 3 times as hard as everybody else. Like my brain has been in overdrive because it could never quiet down. So taking ADHD meds, it was life-changing for me. So I'm very grateful for that. Claire says, it slows my brain down so I can actually focus and do things without even having to force myself to do the things. I can agree with that as well. Alexander said, it felt like finally being able to focus and relax. There was no more urgency. I wish I knew what I was missing for those first 30 years of my life. Also, a big thing was becoming emotionally regulated. That's facts too. Because when I took my meds for the first time, things that not that these meds are mood stabilizers. They're not mood stabilizers, but things that would piss me off, I'm like, whatever, you got it. I'm good. Appreciate you, Mona. Thank you. But I'd be like, I'm good. And Jay Trebed, I am what I take now in terms of meds is Adderall, but that's not the cosign Adderall say is the best. I vacillate between that and I don't think the Concerta worked for me. It can be very tough when dyslexia is added on to what you already have. Miranda, I appreciate you. Let me see. But Alexander, I'm happy you see what I'm talking about. Yeah, like you're not as frustrated. Like little things don't frustrate you as much because it used to be that some small would like throw you, like make you lose your focus. But because you're taking your meds and you're locked in, you're like, okay, whatever. Y'all do what y'all have as much fun as y'all want over there. I'm gonna do my work. I gotta do this group project. I want to do my homework. And I had never been a person in my life that was like, I want to do my homework. But with the medications, I was like, no, I want to do my homework. Oh man, that reminds me of myself with assignments. Leave it on to the last because I just can't get the motivation to do it because the pressure wasn't there to get done until I was close to the deadline. I feel you on that. So possibly, but I don't know if it'll be like dogs because spiders. I don't know, Leilani. I don't know. So my experience was a pretty drastic change, like you described. Yeah, and that's why. Look, when it comes to ADHD medications, these, in my opinion, these are the most effective medications in all of psychiatry. ADHD is actually the most treatable mental health condition out there. It's the most treatable one. So when we miss it, it's a tragedy. Everyone's missing. Oh, Kayla, give me like 5 more minutes, and I'll go over to TikTok. And I'm gonna give my TikTokers, the full undivided attention. We'll do the after party. I'll play some music. We'll be vibing. I'm still give like 5 more minutes. Normally, I like to keep these live streams an hour, but how often do I get to stay within time? Anyone have any experience with Lexapro? So Miranda, this is what I'll say, and obviously keep in mind, I'm not your doctor or your therapist. Well, that was a good one. I'm just a friend talking to you here on Facebook. So people are afraid that the antidepressants are going to change your personality. What I'll say is trust your doctor, the one who prescribed you the medication. Give it a shot. The only frustrating thing about Lexapro is that it takes sometimes 2 to 4 weeks, sometimes a month and a half to like really feel the effect of it. That's the frustrating thing with antidepressants. Like you don't really get that. Like with ADHD medications, you like depending on what it is, within an hour you feel it. It takes a while for Lexapro to really do what Lexapro is supposed to do, but it can be a game changer for depression and anxiety, and especially for anxiety. And I've seen so many people who are so anxious and or depressed, and they deprive themselves of taking these medications when these medications could be the thing that could get you unstuck. It could change your life. It could change the relationship between you and your spouse, you and your kids, you and your parents, you and your coworkers. Sometimes it's medications that we need. And I feel like in the Black community, no, therapy hasn't come out yet for Black people, apparently. So, I gotta get a little bit louder, but therapy and meds. Oh, yeah. Let me address this real quick. Wow. Thank you. I'm happy somebody said this. Yeah. So there was a recent scam with an online prescription company about ADHD medications. It came out recently. I know that one company is Done, and the other company's name is Cerebral. And these were online platforms that were dispensing ADHD medications to people. And you would see a qualified doctor or healthcare professional on these platforms, and they would prescribe you with the medications. But it came out that there was healthcare fraud, and it looks like the owners of these companies are, last I read, they're facing 20 years in prison. So this is some serious stuff, and it's unfortunate because people came along and they saw that the pandemic had hit us, that people were running out of stimulants, and they saw what was going on TikTok with creators like myself and other creators talking more and more about ADHD, and they capitalized on the vulnerable population and made a lot of money off of it. And yeah, it's unfortunate. All I can say is that it's unfortunate, and it may make it harder for people to get their ADHD medications. And it's already hard to get these meds, so it's there. It's unfortunate, and I mean, I've been watching it. At least on 2 occasions, I've been approached by Done, to work with them. They offered me some money. They offered me a nice bag, but I can sit here with pride and say that I declined the bag before the news came out. So, when the news came out, I sent it to my team, and I was like, "Oh, remember this company? This company, they offered us, a sizable amount of money, but I didn't like how they operated. Something didn't feel right with my soul. And now I'm really happy that we declined it. So as an influencer, we all like money. We need money to survive and to keep things going. But it's very important to make sure that you believe what you're promoting, or at least you can see yourself using that thing that you're promoting. You can't promote just any and everything. So I'm very proud of myself because this platform that we built, y'all, this is for the people. We built it collectively, and anything that's dishonest or there's no integrity there, I don't want to be associated with that. So yeah, it's upsetting, and it's probably going to make it harder for a lot of us to get our medications, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not looking. Yeah, it's already hard. It's already hard. Um, report scams like that to your ah yeah, yeah. And I didn't even know that you could report the scams like that to your local Department of Health. But it's very it's upsetting because and that's why like I want my social media business to grow, and I want us to put out more skits and short films and stuff like that. But I've never felt good, capitalizing financially off of people, especially like I have ADHD as well. So even if I work trying to capitalize off of this community, I'd be playing myself, you know. So it's very unfortunate. Ooh, with benzos, I'm sorry to hear that. And a lot of people don't know that benzos, like Xanax, for example, after about just a few weeks of taking these medications, you can become hooked on them, and it can take you sometimes years to get off of it. So these aren't things that should be given out like Starburst. It's you should go through a like like people shouldn't just hand out these medications all willy nilly. Claire, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. Gotcha, Leilani. Let me look at some of the past. Oh, Miranda, yeah. Look, your doctor prescribed you this medication, so give it a shot, and if anything, track your mood when you take the medication. The number one reason why people have stopped taking antidepressants for me is because it messed up their libido. It interfered with their sexual health, or their sex life. And I can understand that, because if meds are gonna interrupt me and the Mickey Ficky, then at that point I'm gonna go back and say, like, I would probably stop medications as well if I wasn't able to do the Mickey Ficky. So I understand that, but I mean you haven't tried it yet, so give it a shot and see where it goes, and if it does hurt you in that category, guess what? There's other medications. There's a lot that we can do. So we don't know until we try this one, and then we move on to the others. Yeah, true, but it's funny because sometimes I have people who swear by Lexapro and some people who swear by Celexa. So it's interesting to see what the book says, or what you learn in psychopharmacology versus what people tell you, you know. Oh, Melanie, I did not know that you were there in New Zealand. Wow. But thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Claire, I don't know if you meant this to be funny, but and look, Claire, look, there's a lot of people who like sex is not important to them. So like if you don't care, and then sure. But not every SSRI will disturb your sex life. So not everyone will do that. It's just something that when you're put on it, they're supposed to kind of tell you that. They're supposed to kind of tell you that, and maybe they forgot, but that's one of the main things that I let patients know. Like, hey, just be on the lookout. Nate, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. My name is Kodo Sarfo. Nate. Every state has something with sort of agency. Ah, okay. And I feel like I know this, but okay. It's always good to be reminded of this, because this fraud, it hurts somebody. I don't have a video on this specifically, but I think I need to make one. Oh, it's not that I'm not interested, but I'm picky and it's not happening. Oh, hey, okay. I hear you. So it looks like Megan's also picky too. Megan said, Megan, that week. Miss Kelsey, how are you doing on TikTok? How you doing, Kelsey? Megan says, one meds increased libido. I'm back on myself. This is funny. The first one that comes to mind is trazodone, which is it's an SSRI, but we use it for sleep. You know, and in order to get the antidepressant effects, you have to jack it up to a super high dose. But yeah, you know, trazodone can make you feel, but it's meant to help you sleep. You know, it's not meant for the Mickey Ficky, but it's meant to help you sleep. So, Nate, I'm happy that you're here as well. I'm happy that you're here. I appreciate you. And Miranda says the sex of 22 with 3 kids traumatized isn't the word. 2 years did bring me a long way in my healing journey. And look, sometimes celibacy is the answer. A lot of us don't want to hear that. I for damn sure don't want to hear that. But sometimes it is good just taking a break, saying, all right, I'm taking a 2-year time out from the Mickey Ficky to just really gather your thoughts. Because like I said, a lot of sex has to do with autonomy and power. So you just want to make sure that whatever you're doing, you want to actually do that thing, if it makes sense. Rawtastic, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. We're about to switch to TikTok anyway shortly here. Miss Kelsey, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My husband is verbal. Right. Okay. Communication is very helpful. It's very helpful with this political climate. And Claire, there's a lot of things happening right now with the lawmakers as it pertains to women's reproductive rights. So yeah, it makes it a bit, you know, more anxious to navigate in today's world. Don't they use trazodone and Seroquel off label for sleep? Yeah. We use trazodone and Seroquel both for sleep. Yeah, you know, I would say we use trazodone for sleep more because when you use Seroquel for sleep, you know, there's some metabolic concerns that, you know, you have to keep in mind. You want to make sure that you don't raise their A1C and the sugar's too high, that they don't put on too much weight. So normally we start off with trazodone first, but a lot of times we will do either or. Please make a video about getting an ADHD assessment. Okay. And Leilani, we could put this down maybe as a video idea. This ADHD assessment, you know, and I don't know if that would be better as a long form YouTube video, because it'd be hard to kind of condense that. But I got some ideas. I got some ideas. Never taking a break over here. 2 young kids, and I'll be 40 this year. Kayla, I don't blame you. Taking a break from the Mickey Ficky is not ideal, but I do think that sometimes there can be some benefits to, you know, taking a break. And even if you can get a month of celibacy, give yourself a pat on the back, you know. And TikTok. Yeah, I am on Twitch. I am on Twitch as well. We don't have that many people on Twitch, but I am on Twitch currently. I am on Twitch. All right, okay. All right, so my TikTokers, y'all have been very, very, you know, patient with me. So now it's time to switch over to TikTok. So I'm going to be going live on TikTok. We can play some music on there. We can't really play music when we go live on Facebook because they'll take the live stream down. And I don't want to do anything that will jeopardize the live stream for future consumption for other people. So the live streams will always be there. And I will look at my schedule this week. I will probably be on live again. Maybe not same time tomorrow, but a little earlier because I'm back in town. I feel good. I'm ready to go. So I'm ready. So we'll let everybody know the live stream schedule in the Discord. So Leilani, can you put the Discord link in here one more time for the people? Nate, I'll catch you another time. I appreciate you. And Jelena, thank you so much. Happy Pride Month, by the way. I'm not sure if I've said that. Crystal, I appreciate you. And here's a Discord link. This is a good place, the best place to get the updates on the lives. And Miranda, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I see the work that you're doing, and you're a good mom. You know, don't forget to tell yourself that. All right, y'all. So we are swapping over to TikTok, and I will see y'all there shortly. Peace.